This week's top five is yet again another request from OAW patron Khalil Young. Salute to you, sir. And if you have a request for a top five list video of your own, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW. Select the top five tier, only $15, and that will also get you access to the OAW Vault, which is the collection of the original Otaku Assemble weekly anime and manga review web series, as well as an invitation to have a guest spot on my monthly live stream right here on YouTube and on Facebook. And with that being said, this is my top five list for favorite character portrayals in the Arrowverse. Let's go ahead and let's get it started.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Once again, another huge shout out to OAW patron Khalil Young for this request. And this is going to be sort of a companion piece to my previous top five video, where I gave you all my top five list for favorite character portrayals in Smallville. This time, we're going to go ahead and do top five favorite character portrayals in the Arrowverse. So all of the CW, DC live action television series, which include Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Black Lightning, and I think that's it, unless there's another one I don't know about. All right, so for those of you all who have been following the channel, you guys already know. For those of you all new to the channel, you might not know this. So I pretty much I dropped the Arrowverse. I dropped it back in 2017. Yeah, by 2017, I was pretty much done. The last season of Arrow I watched in its entirety was season 4. You can actually find some of those reviews right here on my channel. Flash, on the other hand, I stopped reviewing after season 2, but I did see season 3. Didn't care for it. That was kind of the season that, that was the straw that broke the camel's back with me. Supergirl, I was never really on board with. Saw some of season 1, saw some of season 2. Never really the biggest fan of that series. Legends, I dropped after season 1. You can find those reviews on my channel as well. I reviewed season 1. After season 1, I was pretty much done with that show. Black Lightning, on the other hand, season 1 I freaking adored. Have not seen season 2 or 3 yet. I got to catch up on that, but that was pretty much where we left off. Okay, so 2018, because Black Lightning was 2018, right? So, but when I was watching it, when I was enjoying it, there were character portrayals I really dug. So, with that being said, keep in mind, my list, as I mentioned in my Smallville video, right? My top 5 favorite character portrayals in Smallville. My list composed as follows. Number 1, how the characters were written and how they were incorporated into their respective series. And then number 2, and let's not forget, the performances of the actors or actresses portraying said character. That's how I comprised the list. And given the history I just gave you all, we're talking about characters. So Arrows as of season 4, Flash as of season 2, Black Lightning as of season 1, Legends as of season 1. All right. Anywho, let's go ahead. Let's jump into the list, shall we? All right. So, kicking things off at number 5 is my man, Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke, portrayed by Manu Bennett. Deathstroke was my favorite Arrow villain, period. Even up until season 4, Deathstroke was my favorite villain. I thought he was one of the better written ones. And even when the writing for Slade got pretty sloppy, especially in the second half of season 2, Manu Bennett brought it every time. His performance as Slade is so good. And like I said, even when the material doesn't really hold up, dude, he is so enthusiastic. he brings so much he brings so much energy to the role. You can't help but eat it up, man. He's great. He's really good. Really enjoyable. And like I said, like, okay, so he's phenomenal in season 1, mainly because the writing in season 1 is really, really good. But then when he came back in season 2, in the first half, solid. And then in the second half, it was really more of what he was doing as Slade Wilson, not necessarily as Deathstroke, because once the Deathstroke stuff came in, once we got real sort of like comic bookish with it, and I'm not talking about comic bookish in the terms of we were more faithful to the source material, not at all. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of like the how do I put this? When the characters became more caricature, when they became like more animated, when the plot and the story became more like just absurd. Essentially what it was, when it became more absurd, when it became more like a Saturday morning cartoon, the writing suffered. Bennett still brought it though, man. And he played it straight faced, straight laced. He played it straight. Really good performance all around. So that's why his Slade Wilson, his Deathstroke, number 5 on my top 5 favorite character portrayals. Excellent. In my opinion. Alrighty then. Number 4 was kind of difficult to figure out whether or not I wanted to add it on this list. I'll just let you all know this right now. The reason why I say that is because of the sample size. Number 4, really small sample size. Nevertheless, fantastic performance. Number 4 on my list is Harrison Wells. Okay. Roll with me on this one because I got to make sure I get the distinction right. Number 4 is Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash, as Harrison Wells, portrayed by Tom Cavanaugh. All right. I had to make that distinction because since the conclusion of The Flash season 1, Tom Cavanaugh went on to portray not only a different Harrison Wells, but multiple different versions of Harrison Wells. Also, Eobard Thawne ended up getting a new main actor, like the real Eobard, right, was portrayed by a different actor. So this character, and then of course this actor have both portrayed different characters and actors within the same show. I know it's confusing as hell. Y'all just bear with me on this one. Roll with me on this one. We'll try to keep this whole thing straight, especially for those of you all who might be watching this video, but you have not seen this show. I understand it's convoluted as all get out, just like the fucking comic books have a tendency to be convoluted too. Let me tell you, CW is really convoluted, especially The Flash, with a lot of stuff. But roll with me on this one. So this is how it went down. Flash season 1, the very first season of that show, Tom Cavanaugh was playing a character named Harrison Wells. We find out later in the series, Harrison Wells is actually being impersonated by someone, but we didn't know who. It wasn't until towards the end of season 1 that we discovered Eobard Thawne, who is the Reverse Flash, who is a character from the future, is not actually Harrison Wells. He was a character that killed the real Harrison Wells and then changed himself. He kind of shape-shifted his body into looking like Harrison Wells so that he could impersonate Harrison Wells, so that he could then, being stuck in the past, create the Flash, who would then be able to create a speed tunnel, a time tunnel that would get him back to his future. I know it sounds bonkers. I'm just telling y'all what was in the show. Regardless of all the convolution, Tom Cavanaugh brought it. This particular portrayal of Eobard Thawne, he was phenomenal. this particular portrayal of Harrison Wells, he was phenomenal. And like I said, the reason why I had to make sure I put all those caveats in with this particular portrayal is because this is the only portrayal we get like this. Because what happens is in season 2, once Eobald's returned to his own time, so Tom Cavanaugh comes back as the Earth 2 Harrison Wells, which is still a version of Harrison Wells, but it's a different characterization because he's not a villain, right? So he's not really Eobald Thawne, right? He's the real Harrison Wells, right? And then after season 2, or maybe it was during season 2, I can't even remember when the hipster Wells came. I can't even remember if that was in season 2 or you know what? No. Was it season 2 or was it season? I can't even remember when that one came in. But then, he ends up portraying a different. I'm not going through all of that again because I just went through it 2-3 minutes ago. Not going through all that again. Anywho, but in season 1, Cavanaugh was phenomenal, bruh. He was great. He was so good. He was so well written. He was so well acted. Because in season 1 we have that sort of reverse that reverse story where it's the villain creates the hero, but he does so intentionally. Because you know how like many times we have like the hero creates the villain, right? Like Batman, in many instances, in many stories, like he unintentionally creates his own villains, right? Well, this one, it's the villain who creates the hero, but he does so intentionally. Dude, if you haven't seen The Flash season 1, it's the only season of The Flash I actually do recommend, because it's the best one of the series. Dude, it is so freaking good. It's ridiculous. Season 1 of The Flash was way too good for this network. It really was. And even though it has all of those same like CW, I'm calling them CW-isms. That's my term for it. It has all of those same CW-isms, the love triangles, the teenage drama, all of the crying and the whining and all that crud. It has that stuff. Cavanaugh's performance, though, is one of those highlights of the show that makes it worth sitting through. He's that freaking good. So that's why he's my number 4. 4. All right. Now, okay, real quick. Number 3. When I was making the list, number 3 kind of came out of nowhere for me because I forgot. And here's the reason why. My number 3 pick was not a Arrowverse original. He was a character that was brought into the Arrowverse later. But he has been brought into the Arrowverse proper because he's now appeared on at least 2 different shows in the Arrowverse. And by saying that, you all have probably figured out who I'm talking about. I am talking about John frickin' Constantine, portrayed by Matt Ryan. All right. Now, once again, for those of y'all who don't know, let me give you all the backstory. So Matt Ryan portrayed John Constantine on the Constantine series, his own solo series on NBC. What happened was the series got canceled after its first season, and I don't know if the rights reverted back to Warner Brothers or if they just went and acquired the rights for the series because what happened was the way the contracts and the litigation and all that broke down. This is the way it happened. Matt Ryan's John Constantine is brought into Arrow season 4, right? And it's done almost like a cameo because I think he's only in like 2 episodes, right? Like he is a supporting character in 1 episode, and then he has like a cameo later on that season. The following year, the Constantine show shows up on CW Seed, which is their online their online website and their online app, right? It's not a premium It's not a premium thing because I don't think you have to pay for CWC, but it is sort of their streaming app, right? Because that's where all like their back catalog, some of their old shows, like I think like Dawson's Creek, Rosewood, Rosewood or Roswell? Roswell, I'm sorry. Dawson's Creek, Roswell, Charmed, I think is on there, like some of their old shows, right? Well, Constantine is on that show. Right? It's his show is on that. His show is on that app, and then he shows up in Legends of Tomorrow. So now he has been brought into the Arrowverse proper. Okay, great performance. Great performance. Matt Ryan is great in this role. He gets the character. He brings it out. Now, here's the thing. Keep this in mind. Once again, we're talking about sample size. And I will admit, there's a little bit biased. I kind of broke my own rule when I made this list because a lot of this I am taking from that original Constantine show from NBC. I am taking from that. So that's taken into consideration too. But still, dude, his performance is really great. The way in which they write the character, from what I saw, was actually pretty good. He's true to form. He's true to the character. They don't make him as much of a douchebag as he is at times in the comics. Like I don't think I've seen him do anything straight up skullduggery yet. Not yet. Not on screen. Not in live action. But the whole dude, his whole bit with like his redemption arc, his whole thing of sort of being cursed, where like everyone or anyone and everyone who has anything to do with John Constantine ends up dying. You either ends up dying, ends up cursed, ends up mutilated, or something like that. Like it always seems to end up bad for him. Like that sort of thing. He brings all of that. He gets that and he brings it into his performance, and it's all done really well. If you guys have not seen him in action, it's a treat. I would recommend you check out his solo series. Like I said again, it's on CWC, which I do believe is still a free app. I don't know if they started charging for it yet. I hope not. But yeah, check it out, man. It's pretty freaking good. Pretty good. Okay. Number 2, man. You know what? Now, this one was freaking difficult. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all what happened. I put together my list after my man Khalil sent me the message. I put together my list, right? My number 2 was originally my number 1. Then there was another character I had forgot about. And I was like, oh, no, man, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do my boy like that, right? So yeah, I had to. In the middle of making my list, I had to go back and I had to make a little course correction. That's pretty much what that meant. That's what happened. But number 2 on my list is my man, Jefferson Pierce, aka Black Lightning, portrayed by Cress Williams. So 2018 was a pretty cool year, especially for African-American superheroes. And this is what I mean by that. Because in 2018, we had Black Panther, so what was it again? $1.7 billion worldwide, right? We had Black Panther from Marvel, right? From the MCU. We had Luke Cage season 2 on Netflix, right? That was the summer of 18. And then Black Lightning was the spring of 18. I didn't get around to seeing it until the fall of 18. I missed it when it was airing on television, right? I didn't catch it until that fall on Netflix. But anyway, three major productions featuring African-American male superheroes in the same year. Dude, let me tell you something. Black Lightning, that show started off a little slow for me. But once we got like halfway through that show, dude, I was loving it, and I love Jefferson. He is such a good character. He's such a good role model. In terms of the way in which these characters, right? The way in which the morals and the ethics that they have, what they aspire to, what they inspire us, the manner in which they inspire us, what they aspire us to be, dude. Jefferson is all of that, you know, and then, you know, but it's more than just him outside of the suit, which is what I appreciate most about that show, is that show, at least in season 1, was so much more about him as Jefferson Pierce, as the man, because he is a principal. You know, he's a high school principal. So in many respects, he's a mentor to African-American, predominantly African-American youth, but then he's also a father too, right? So we have that as well. Dude, Jefferson is such a freaking, he's a class act, man. He really is. He's a class act. He's, you know, tried and true, man. Just, and yeah, and Cress Williams does a great job in that performance, dude. He does, is so, dude, the different sides of Jefferson, he does so well. So he does the intellectual side really well. He does the physical side really well, right? He does the comedy side really well. He does the drama side really well. He does the smooth, charismatic, romantic side really, you know, really well, dude. All of that, dude. He great performance. Can't say enough. If you guys have not yet checked out Black Lightning, I highly recommend it. In terms of the series overall, I mean, it's somewhat cookie cutter. It's pretty textbook, traditional superhero fare, somewhat formulaic. It's pretty formulaic. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it doesn't necessarily do anything new. It doesn't break any new ground or anything like that. I do appreciate some of the societal stuff that it does touch on. I think it doesn't do it any different than like Static Shock would have done it back in the Gap, right? I don't think it's heavy-handed. I don't think it's heavy-handed. It doesn't come off like, you know, an after-school PSA or anything like that. I think the way in which they do it is pretty good. All things considered, it's pretty good. And once again, it's another one of those where at times it seems like the material is too good for the network it's on. Then again, I don't know what they did with it in season 2, because you know how these things go, right? Like all these shows, with the exception of Legends, have really good first seasons, and then afterwards it just. So I don't know if Black Lightning fell to the same thing, because I haven't seen season 2 yet, but here's hoping. Here's hoping it stayed up, is what I'm saying. It kept up. All right. And okay, so with that being said, we have now arrived at my number 1. Once again, just like my Smallville video, I don't really have an honorable mentions list. There are some characters who I like their portrayals, but I also have issues with their portrayals, which is why they weren't included on this list. So some of those I'm talking about Oliver Queen, Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen, John Diggle, who is sort of an original character. Granted, he does, like, his backstory is sort of an amalgam of other DC Comics characters, but essentially he's his own character. There were some mostly villains. There were villains that I wanted to add on the list. Count Vertigo was one. Amunet was one. Tobias. Okay, the one honorable mention I probably would have put on the list was Tobias Whale, because he's dude. That dude is so good, man. The characters written really well. The acting is. Oh, dude. Tobias Whale. He was really close to making my list. He was really, really close. So he would probably be the big honorable mention, right? Because he was really close to making my list. But at the end of the day, like I said, Black Lightning was my number one until I forgot about this gentleman. And I was like, Larry, shame on you. How could you do it? It was your boy. You gave him praise in the past. You gotta bring him up here. If you've seen my Flash reviews or if you've seen my Legend of Tomorrow reviews, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about my man, Wentworth Miller, as Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold. Dude, I can't say enough about the character, but also Wentworth Miller's performance. He is mainly on this list for his performance. Wentworth Miller, dude, I am trying to think of another actor in the Arrowverse, in any of the Arrowverse series, right? In any of the series that gave the same enthusiasm. Because remember what I said about Manu Bennett, about how, his enthusiasm for the role came out in the performance. As much as Wentworth Miller, I'm trying to think of an actor, man. And look, you got some good actors, you got some good actresses on, in these shows, regardless of the material, right? Regardless of the material, right? Because you got Brandon Roth, you got Melissa Benoist, right? Who else? Who's another one? I'm trying to remember some more of the actors. Like the actors and actresses are aplenty, and they do a good job. Oh, Dominic Purcell, that's another one. Dominic Purcell, who is Wentworth Miller, and Captain Cold's, running buddy. Dude, let me tell you something. Wentworth Miller, every time, at least as far as the first two seasons of Flash and the first seasons of Legends of Tomorrow is concerned, every time the boy showed up on camera, he stole the show. He stole every scene he was in. He enthusiastic, charismatic, charming, flamboyant, bombastic, dramatic, dude. Whether Snart was happy, and here's the other thing too. For a character like Leonard Snart, who is always trying to put on this ruse of being the tough guy, being the sarcastic smartass, the genius mastermind who's always a step ahead of everybody else. He's all about the plan. You know what I mean? Because that was sort of his story arc in Legends of Tomorrow season 1, right? He puts on this character, right? Leonard Snart himself is putting on the character of Captain Cold, but so many times we get inside his head and we get to see behind the goggles, you know what I'm saying? Where we start to understand who he is as a character. And at that point, that's when Wentworth Miller, dude, what he's able to do with his performances, the way he's able to relate those things, bruh. The dude, oh my god, $1 million performance, man. I don't know what his salary was when he was on these shows, man. Pay that man right goddamn now. Pay him his money. Get that man his money. I think now, okay, so here's the thing. He departed the Arrowverse because Prison Break came back, right? Because Wentworth Miller is the star of Prison Break. Prison Break came back, so he left to go and, reprise his role over on that series. I think he has returned for cameos here and there. I know because I think he was in the first Crisis, right? And then I think he had a part in the latest one. I haven't seen the latest one yet, so but dude, Flash season 1, season 2, Legend, dude, he was the best part of Legend season 1. He really was. Him, of course, and Dominic Purcell as Heatwave. Even them, man, their chemistry, because of course Dominic Purcell was his co-star on Prison Break as well. So these two actors, they have history, they have chemistry, they have rapport. You can tell because it comes out in the dialogue, it comes out in the banter, it comes out in the performance, the back and forth. They play off of each other so freaking well. It's really, really good stuff. They can go from menacing antagonists to comic relief like that in a split second. It's so freaking good. But dude, Wentworth Miller, man, that he, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me about this, he's the MVP of the Arrowverse. He really is, dude. That dude brought his A game. He brought 110% every showing. I don't think, just like I said, when going back to my Smallville video, when I was talking about Michael Rosenbaum, I was like, I don't think he's ever phoned it in. I don't think, dude, if Wentworth Miller ever phoned it in on an episode, show it to me, point it out, point the scene out to me, bro. I'm hard pressed to believe you, dude, because the dude, he was in it, and you could tell, dude. You could tell he loved the role. You could tell he was into it. He was psyched for it. He enjoyed it. It came through. One of the biggest mistakes the CW made was letting this brother go. I don't know if it was because of the time constraints. I don't know if it was because he wanted to, renegotiate the contract. Like I said, you pay that man. Whatever you got to do to bring him back, you pay that man. The dude was freaking phenomenal. Straight up. MVP performance. My number one, hands down, favorite character portrayal. Freaking loved it. Phenomenal. Amazing. So that pretty much wraps up my top 5 favorite Arrowverse portrayals. In the comments below, let me know. Leave your favorites. Let me know what you guys think. I know y'all gonna disagree with me on this list. I already know that. I know y'all gonna disagree with me, especially for those of you all who have seen more of the Arrowverse series than I have. Y'all gonna have more information than I do. It's Larry, man, but what about this guy? What about this chick? What about this? What about that? Hey, that's what the comments are for, right? Leave them in the comments below, man. Make a video response. Let me hear y'all top 5. Come on, man. Let's get the discussion going. Let's have the discussion. Let's talk about the issues. All right. Leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, please do me a big favor. Thumb it up, like it, share it with anybody you think would get a kick out of it. Share it on social media. Sharing that link very much helps. And if this is the first video you're discovering, or if you've only seen a few of mine and you haven't yet become a subscriber, please become a subscriber of OAW Entertainment at youtube.com/OAW Entertainment. I'm very easy to find, baby. And last but certainly not least, once again, going to give another huge shout out to my man Khalil Young, one of the OAW patrons. If you guys have seen the what did I call it? The fundraiser Q&A. That's the one it was. It was the fundraiser Q&A at the end of January. My man Khalil guest spot on that. I'm gonna see if I can have him back for the one at the end of this month. But guess what? You want to get a guest spot on an OAW Entertainment live stream. If you have a top 5 list you want to see, if you have, whether it's a discussion of the week topic, whether it's, an anime review, whether it's an advice corner segment, whether it's a movie review, television review, guess what? If you become a patron at patreon.com/OAW, not only do you get a request fulfilled, depending on what your tier is, you also get access to the OAW Vault, which is the first 2 seasons of the original Otaku Assemble Weekly anime and manga review live web series, which actually, as luck would have it, also includes movie reviews. It includes rants, other discussion videos. We kind of opened up towards the end of season 1 into season 2. We opened up, what we were actually making videos about. Old videos, yes, true, but I think they're still pretty entertaining. I think you all would get a kick out of them. I mean, damn, man, the videos that started the channel, man, that's how it first started, Those will become available to you. And as I mentioned before, you will get an invite to guest star on one of my live streams. That's right. All of that with top 5, $15, man. That's it. You get OAW Vault, guest spot on the live stream, and you get your own customized top 5 video, $15. That's right there, patreon.com/OAW. And with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. Until next time, guys, I am signing off, and I will catch you all later. Peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?